PlayStation is about to change the way games are developed and how you see them for the foreseeable future.
And they're still not raising prices.
There's been a lot of rumors been thrown around about PlayStation recently, and a lot of them all but confirmed, and one particular one that I'm quite excited for. Because if you didn't know, because I haven't spoken about it enough already, I'm quite into the graphical designs of video games. It is in my degree, I make graphical engines. I've specifically worked with PS5s, so this quite pertains to me. PS5s have a new system called PSSR, which is basically the AI upscaling that everyone's been talking about. It's PlayStation Super Resolution. It's how they take games with a lower resolution, put them through their chip, get some good upscaling through there, and they spit out, hopefully, a 4K game. What they're doing now, however, is they're apparently making large advancements with this technology, which means they can make the games in the first place run at lower resolutions, which would increase performance a lot, and then just upscale them to look like they would anyway.
So we're getting...
So instead of making a game target 1080p 60 frames or 4K 30 frames, we can now just make a game target maybe 720 60, which is way easier to do, and then it looks like 4K anyway.
So we're getting the whole focus of this is to upgrade things to get 4K.
Potentially 4K. Maybe they're just going to use it to keep the same level we have now, but make it run better. So we would still be having 1080p resolution, but it would run at like 120 or something.
Okay, this is very small, so it's hard to see. But my
yes,
PlayStation
I was going to bring this up.
8K. So I feel like we're moving backwards. Right there is 8K. Directly next to it, it says 4K 120. So
how often have you actually seen that happen, though?
I don't believe them. I don't believe them at all, because I was told this years ago, and now you're just now telling me that we're gonna get 4K 120. Like, no. Why would I believe you?
I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass, though.
I was a fool. Which I mean,
I'm
it's still like, yeah, okay. So you're capable of doing that, but most people, myself included, because like I am a gamer, but my TV can't do 4K. So you could give it to my system.
A lot of people's can, though.
But, well, I mean, yeah. But actually, can
TVs are like the one thing that has actually gotten cheaper over time, like they're supposed to.
I'm gonna say I know I'm locked at 60 FPS, which is a huge disappointment because I tried a game the other day. I'm not gonna say which one because I don't want everybody leaving, but I tried a game. It's a game I play on the computer all the time, and I use my PlayStation controller with it. So I was like, hey, it's available on the PlayStation for free, kind of narrowing down what game it could be. So tell me, do you know what game I'm talking about? And I tried it on the TV with my PlayStation, and it made me sick. Like, it made me, like, when people talk about motion sickness from, like, putting a VR headset on, this is what I imagine, because I tried playing the game and I was like, no, this is terrible. If I had tried the game like this to begin with, I would never play this. It's awful. Whereas
that could have been motion blur, to be fair.
Well, no, it was literally the way, like, the timing of everything moving. It just wasn't moving fast enough, because my monitor is 165, so everything I play is at 165, and then locking it at 60 was a disappointment, to put it in the nicest of ways. So, if even if PlayStation does give me this update, giving me 4K, because maybe my TV's 4K, I don't know. I don't remember. I bought it a couple years ago. It could be. But whether or not it is, I still can't get 120 out of it. I am only going to get 60. And that's where I feel like you're saying more people have 4K TVs. That may be true. But how many people have the potential to run 120 FPS and it actually be on the TV? Because having your game run it,
that is fair.
Your TV show it, is still gonna cause an issue. So
it is becoming more common, though.
I feel so.
Having high refresh rate TVs.
I will say the moment I got done trying this game on the TV, I immediately searched to find a TV that would allow me to have better frames. Like my search history goes from me playing the game to literally TVs with a higher FPS. And all the ones I was looking at, like unless you're gonna step over into like the OLED market, or you're gonna drop a couple thousand, which I don't know what that would be for you, a couple of tons maybe. Dropping that is where you're gonna actually get a TV that's capable of doing it. Whereas if you just, if you're in that $800 or less range, you're getting 60, and that is it. That's all you're ever gonna get. And even the Switch can do better than that now. Not the Switch. The Switch 2. The Switch can't. The Switch 60 FPS on the Switch. Yeah.
I still think it's very exciting because more people are playing games like this on monitors. More people are getting TVs for like this.
Okay.
It's very cool to see how it's being done, because essentially the PlayStation has... Okay, I don't know how far I need to rewind for it to make sense. So there are things called shaders, right? And I'm not talking about Minecraft shaders, although it kind of is.
They're always compiling and taking so long to load. Every game you got, compiling the shaders.
Yeah, exactly. A shader is
hardly know her.
Basically something that takes each individual pixel, does something to it, and spits it out the other end, right? That's the general definition. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
That's the general definition for what a shader is. There used to be what's called a pixel shader and a geometry shader, which is what took the 3D models in the game you were making and actually turned them into pixels on a screen, because obviously that's how you see pictures on a computer screen. Those don't really exist on the PS5. They kind of combine them into one thing. It's called a primitive shader now. Not primitive as in old, primitive as in like triangles, because everything's made with triangles now. It used to be everything was made with quads, which were technically made of triangles. Now they've stopped pretending and they've just said that everything's triangles. You may have heard them be called polygons on older games.
Yeah.
Same thing. The way that these things work is when you have a 1080 game, you then need to run this shader for every pixel on a 1080 screen. And there's multiple shaders that you have to run. This is why they have to compile all the time, particularly on PC, because different graphics cards need to compile them differently. For PlayStation, what this means is if they're doing this, then these shaders only have to run for 720 potentially, and then get upscaled later, which is way quicker. You can do that on the graphics card or on the chip on the CPU, which means way less calculations are being done, which makes it way quicker, which means you can do way higher FPS.
Okay.
Because resolution scales, what's the word?
What is the
I'm blanking
word?
on the word now. Exponentially.
Exponentially.
720.
Exponentially.
720 is significantly less pixels than 1080, because it looks like it's one step down, but it's one step down in both directions, and that makes it a lot smaller when you're talking about a technical level like this.
I must say, it's 2/3 of it, but yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I see. There's a difference there, but so if that's the thing that they're going for, if it's just, hey, make a lower thing here, that way we can make it better there. Like, is this new technology? Like, have they just figured this out?
Yeah, this is a new version of the technology. Yeah,
okay.
They already have PSSR. I keep nearly saying PSSL. That's a different thing. PSSR is we have this already. This is basically the same thing that's going to be in the Switch 2. It's the same way. It's the same technology, just made by a different company. Their PlayStation, the rumor is they've got a new version of this that is... Why are you laughing? What's funny about this?
I just want to say, holler at me if you want me to PSSL in your PSSR.
You don't care about any of this, do you?
Well, I mean, I don't truthfully... Look, when I get a box and it tells me 8K, I just believe it. I don't care how really It's
Okay, fair
it's
enough.
fascinating. I'll give it to you. It is fascinating, and you are a man of much more knowledge than me, especially when it comes to things like this. So from your side, like I know you get more excited about things like this, whereas I'm like, cool, appreciate it.
I mean, the specifics of how this work is literally the subject of my degree. Like, this is
Yeah. So like,
what I do.
literally, it's what you do. Like if we were talking about best
Or
position
PlayStation as
to
well.
lay down in and go to sleep, I could get excited about that. But
Okay, well, we can move on.
no, I mean we don't have to move. Like if there's something else like that you want to explain or that you feel like
You get the gist. It's gonna make things run better.
You heard it here, everyone. PlayStation is making their games run better.
Well, they're not running though. It's PlayStation Stars.
No, they're not running that anymore. That was a good one.
Bugger's gone.
Yep. So PlayStation Stars is officially ending. Now, it's not officially ending, but it is ending. It's so I got an email, all right, because I apparently was part of the PlayStation Stars. I didn't until they sent me the email. I didn't know this affected me, but apparently it does. But they sent me an email, and it's letting you know that you can still complete campaigns, level up, and enjoy the status benefits and earn rewards until July 23rd of 2025. After that, there will no longer be campaign levels. You'll not be able to earn any additional rewards, yada, yada. Now, it says you could still cancel your membership, but starting May 21st, 2025, if you cancel, you will lose any unused points and you will not be able to rejoin this version of the program. Now, the version of the program actually ends November 2nd, 2026. So
it's only if you're already in it though.
You
already can't sign up anymore.
So it's a buy-in thing right now. Basically, wait. Oh. So PlayStation, you wrong for this, PlayStation. You're wrong. So wrong. Thank you for not raising your prices. But you're wrong for this. You sent me a message on May 21st telling me starting May 21st, if you cancel, you will lose any. So you didn't give me a warning. You're just like, oh, hey, by the way, if it's over.
Cancel.
Like, well, mine's not currently active, so I can't rejoin and get any points or whatever that I had are now gone. And I don't know that I had any. And I have no proof now to know.
If you are on PS Plus, I know it's a PSN then, that's not what it's been called for years. PS Plus, if you are on PS Plus, check if you've got anything. If you buy from it even like semi-regularly, you might have built up. So get something for free before they take it away.
Yeah, you have, if you cancel or if your PlayStation Plus Edge Ultra, if it ends or you cancel it anytime after, I know for sure as of the time you're watching this video, because it is after the 21st, because PlayStation made sure to let me know after. But anyways, if you cancel or anything like that, you will lose that. So if you have any points built up, you should use them before it either runs out and you don't plan on renewing, or I don't know, if you just feel like it. Use your points.
Just double check.
Why not? Send them to me. I'll use them.
Lose.
I'll use your points. I'll use all your points. You got points, I want them. I got points, you can have them. I don't know if I have points. I don't. I can't check now. Thank you, PlayStation. They're loving those prices, though. I'm gonna just mention that. I'm gonna mention that.
On this hill, aren't you?
I am gonna mention that every chance I get. I am gonna talk about how PlayStation has not raised the prices, because that was everybody's initial thing when Nintendo switched to. Yeah, but okay. Switch 2 was like, hey, $80 Mario Kart World And then GameStop. Well, I mean, technically, we'll blame them too. GameStop. I'm after you. But Xbox was like, okay, you want to raise your prices? We'll raise our prices. No, it's nothing new. We're still the same old stuff you haven't been buying, so we'll just raise the prices of that. Whereas PlayStation said, no, we are a system of the. I don't know if I want to finish that sentence saying it that way because that sounds a little. They how do I phrase this?
He's digging a hole.
Anyways, they were.
He's digging it deeper.
Yeah, I am. They stood strong on their original prices and have not changed it. I don't know if it's. I imagine it have to be. They've had to have talked about it. Like there's had to have been a meeting, someone somewhere within the PlayStation network. See what I did there? There's got to be some talking about. Hey, look, everybody else is raising the prices. Should we? And obviously, the answer's been no up until this point. So
it hasn't been no. They just haven't finished with the meetings yet. It's gonna happen.
Well, hey, look, not a yes is no. I'm not gonna.
That's a very deep hole.
Look, they haven't raised the prices. Okay, I'm happy about it. Thank you, PlayStation. That's it.
But
That's
when
all
they release
for me.
new games, they're
stop
gonna.
Now.
When they release Fizzint, that's gonna be
they're releasing
$70,
new games
$80.
all the time. What are you talking about?
No, I mean like first party.
Oh,
like Fizzint.
Nice.
The spiritual successor to Metal Gear. It's Kojima's next game.
Oh yeah.
Which is said to be 5 years away, and will probably be $80. Let's be honest.
Okay, look, I'll give it to you. In 5 years' time, yeah, it'll probably be $80. Okay, but if it came out, I'm gonna be generous, and I'm gonna say if it came out before the end of the year, maybe not. Maybe PlayStation can hold out.
We'll see.
That's what they're waiting for GTA 6. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna raise the price when GTA 6 launches. So between now and then, buy your PlayStation games because they're cheap now, but they won't be. Okay. So enjoy it. See. And remember, your PlayStation's an Xbox.
Fizzint has been said to still be 5 or 6 years away, and it is confirmed to be a PS6 exclusive, which means we're getting the PS6 before then. Yeah. Which I feel like was pretty self-explanatory. That was common sense, you know. We'll have the PS6 in the next 5 years.
Makes you really wonder why
everyone's been talking about it.
Care about upgrading the graphics for the PS5. Also, you're saying the graphics upgraded for the PS5, so is this going to make the standard PS5 better or just the Pro?
It depends how they do it. It might require a different chip. It might just be different shader programs on the chip.
Yeah.
It depends how they're doing it. We're going to have to wait for them to actually announce it. If it's just different programs on the chip, then it could be the base PS5. They could just push out an update. Maybe.
Then what would be the incentive to buy the Pro if the PS5 can...
Because it would still be more powerful. It would do it even better.
Oh, well, okay. So maybe it'll get 8K.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Not that anybody needs 8K. I don't know why that was such a thing in the first place.
I'm waiting for 16K if I'm being honest, okay? Then I'll buy it.
What are you watching in 8K? And where are you watching it?
You can watch this podcast.
What TV has 8K?
You can watch this podcast in 8K.
You very much can't. I'm sorry. This is 1080p.
Hey, by the time the PS6 comes out, maybe we'll be there.
Maybe I'll be able to afford a better camera by then. But for now, this is 1080 60
at best. If the PS6 comes with a camera, maybe it can record in 4K.
I just fully lied. This is 1080 30. My bad. This isn't even 60.
Yikes. What is mine? I can't even remember.
Doesn't matter. The video is 1080 30.
Mine's 4K 30, but it could be 1080 60, but that wouldn't matter.
1080.
Yeah.
Neither matters. It's getting limited by me either way.
Yeah. Anyway, big news is if you're watching on your PlayStation, maybe you could upscale it later. If they release the...
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Hey, let me dream, okay? They're not raising their prices, okay? Let's just be happy about that. That's my theme. That's my thing. You have Hollow Knight. I have...
Noticed.
PlayStation hasn't raised their prices.
And we will get to Silksong, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry, but not yet.
Yeah.
I'm saving that because
There's
it has a better.
Yeah,
it has a better segue from a different point.
He's got a much more natural segue
about,
where we don't mention the segue. And that's
of course.
That's the secret.
This segue that I'm talking about now that I'm mentioning is for GTA 6 because we don't really have a segue into GTA 6.
And technically, I was talking about GTA 6 a minute ago, so you could have just snuck that in there.
Yeah.
Where were you, man?
But we just kept.
Where were you?
Well, I'd already cut you off for PlayStation Stars, so I didn't want to be.
You can cut me off anytime, man.
Shut up! GTA 6. Fans have created an interactive map of Leonida?
This what you cut me off for?
Vice City is in. Yeah. And they've pinned a bunch of... It's an interactive map, and they've pinned everything that we currently know about. So everything, all the activities that we're aware of from the very limited non-gameplay trailers we have.
All the jiggle physics. All the
jiggles.
Yeah, they're in there.
They've made a map. There's an interactive map.
They've made a... Oh, God. Oh, man.
If you actually look at the map, it's just like there's movie theaters and shit.
An interactive
let me pull
map.
it up, actually.
That's part of the collector's edition that I was talking about, isn't it? Yeah, so that's
so
a
there's
callback.
Like airports, Department of Corrections.
Airport? I'm not going to the airport.
Airport. Screenshots of various things. Lakes. Peanut Island. Island.
Hey, yo. I'm just going to act like I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at because we both know I can't open this webpage up right now.
That's very fair. You're not missing much. Basically, they've just pinned a bunch of stuff that happens in the trailer to a location on the map.
They pinned Penile map? They pinned Penile on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've taken Pin the Tail on a Donkey to a whole new level. Maybe we'll get to see that in 8K.
All right, what's your clever segue then?
Oh, my clever segue would be talking about how...
Take us somewhere else.
GTA 6, okay? Because that's what we were talking about already. But since you've already called out that I've got to segue it, now I must explain my segue. So your fault here. Okay, so we were talking about GTA 6, and we were talking about how it created the fan thing with the promotional stuff and everything like that. What people haven't been talking about is how GTA 6 could or could not be on the Switch 2. I'm thinking no, but could be. But what is confirmed...
No, there's a chance.
What? Okay, anyways. What is confirmed is they're not supporting VRR on the dock. They're not. So that's your news.
So we've been talking about this for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, you've been against it because it was mentioned. It was mentioned that it was supposed to do that, and then Nintendo was like, "Hey, did we say that?"
Exactly.
So
it has finally come out 3 weeks later. What they meant is that variable refresh rate will be on the actual tablet of the Switch for handheld mode. It will not be supported for docked on the TV, which is where it matters. So what?
Yeah.
Who gives a crap about VRR on the console? That's just... It's the frames are limited anyway. It doesn't matter if you turn the refresh rate down.
Exactly.
It's on the TV that it matters. Because that's where the syncing happens.
And for a segue from there, I would say, well, that's why they waited to bring Mario Kart World out for the Switch 2, because we didn't have that on the Switch 1. Yet Mario Kart World was designed for the Switch 1, and it has been in work for years. But
no, we did have that on the Switch 1, I think.
We didn't. No, we didn't. Wait.
They're taking it away.
Well,
that's why I'm complaining.
It wasn't good enough, is what I'm saying. Just let me. I don't know, man. Hey, look, you drive this ship, okay? I'll just sit over here.
Okay, Mario Kart World was reportedly being designed for the original Switch and started development on dev kits for the original Switch, and then switched to the Switch 2 later in development. What this means is that they were designing it for a less powerful system, so when it comes out, it will probably run fine, because even if it's not optimized very well, they're now just kicking more horsepower into it again.
Yeah, like the PS5.
It's gonna... Yeah, essentially. Everyone's really upset about it. I don't know why. The graphics are more
Okay, when it
not. I don't want to say less impressive because that's not what I mean. The graphics are different. There's a different art direction. That while resolution is probably higher.
When it comes to Mario games and everything like that, like one of the things Nintendo has really been able to like corner the market on is it does not matter how realistic it looks because it's not real. It's not. It is all fake.
Yeah.
Everything is fake. They're all fake. The people, like, nothing is real. So it doesn't have to look realistic. So therefore, the graphics don't have to be good. Who knows if that person's head's a square? We don't. So if it shows up as a square in the game, we just go with that. We don't quite. That's how Minecraft was made. Okay. Anyway, so when it comes to, people talking about how well, the graphics are going to be like what they would have been for the Switch 1, we're just getting them for the Switch 2. Who cares? It's Mario Kart. It is a karting game with the Mario world. What do you expect? Like, do you want to see his 5 o'clock shadow? No. So it'll be fine.
Did you ever see that ridiculously detailed render they did of Mario?
No, I didn't. But if this
a few years ago, they did like a ridiculously high resolution render, and people didn't like it because it was too detailed. It looked weird. It like messed with your brain.
Look what they did with Sonic. Am I right? Right? Like there could be design flaws when you try to make things too great. But speaking of designs, Miyamoto explained the new DK redesign as part of a decade-long ongoing effort to make the character more expressive, which is exactly what I was just talking about. Is it's not real, and now we're switching over to we want DK to be more real. What am I even doing today? Like what?
Okay, so not more even real. They want them to be more expressive. Those aren't
expressive is real, sir.
No.
Yes, because if it was a character, just doing this the entire game, you would be like, "What is this?" But it's more realistic if he's moving around, if he's expressing himself, if he's smiling. It's more realistic because that's what people would do. Maybe not quite this animated, other than the theater kids. Hey, how you doing? But
no, that's exactly it though. Not this animated. Because that's what makes it expressive. For 3D animation,
but it's all animated.
Going overboard is how you do this.
It's animation. It's all animated.
But
everything's
it's a different
animated.
kind of animation.
They're animating the animation, man. And we're complaining about that it was designed for the Switch 1. Not we.
It's a different kind of animation.
What do you mean it's a different kind of animation?
Doing it in a 3D model is...
That's where I like
in a 3D environment hasn't been done for Donkey Kong in a long time. There hasn't been a 3D Donkey Kong game in a long time. So the last 3D model they had that was used for 3D animation was for the 64, was it not?
You know what? I don't know.
I'm not counting the movie, by the way. I'm talking games here.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
So obviously, Donkey Kong has had 3D models because Nintendo uses 3D models for 2D animation. But if you look at them, there's this famous picture of Mario Wonder. If you turn the model, it looks ridiculous because it's 3D, but with the way it's animated, that's how it's been done for Donkey Kong as well, for Donkey Kong Country Returns and things.
Right.
Because that's how it's been animated. It's meant to be looked at from a static view. They have to change that when they make it 3D, and you can look at him from wherever. That's why he has a new model, because they've changed it.
Turned his head and was like, "This is my good side."
No, literally, that's exactly. You have to animate from that one side.
Yeah.
Because that's the side it's going to be viewed from. Now that it's viewed 360, they have the opportunity to make a model more expressive by giving it's rounder, it looks softer, it has different facial expressions it can do because the mouth is wider now. These are all tiny tweaks that have been made with the intention of making Donkey Kong more expressive, which is not more realistic. It's actually less realistic because it's moving him in ways that aren't physically possible. faces do not contort in that manner. It's being done because it looks better.
Maybe you're just not doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, maybe your face contorts in that manner, but that's besides the point. Most people's don't.
I get bored sometimes, okay? But yeah, anyways, it's DK. They're changing him. We've already seen it. I don't really like. The only reason why it's so noticeable is because like he's not in everything. Like Mario looks so much different than what Mario used to, but it's not as noticeable because like every year you get a new iteration of him that's changed just a little bit, and then if you look back 20 years ago, what Mario used to look like versus what he looks like now, it's completely different, and nobody said anything about it, but they changed DK's design, and everybody's like, "What? He looks different." Yeah, everyone, you do. All right, what'd you look like 20 years ago? So, it's.
I think it's a good change. I think it will allow them to do more with the character.
Yeah, I mean,
in the context that they're using it in.
Not like they. I don't. I was trying to think of some way they could have messed it up, but I don't know how to do that without potentially being offensive one way or another. They could have cut all his hair off. I don't know. He could have been hairless. They could have done so many things. Could have took his tie away. They could have taken the tie away. Then where would we be? Then he's just a monkey, right? He's not Donkey Kong. He's just Kong. And who wants to see that? He's not even a king. Who wants to see just regular Kong? No one. So yeah.
That's not all Nintendo's been up to, though. They have been making some changes to the eShop. Not in the way that you're excited. In the way that I'm excited. Because they have a section in the Japanese eShop that shows games coming after specific dates. I don't know how they pick these dates, but they are dates. And one of these dates is June 6th. And it is now confirmed because of this Japanese eShop that Silksong, yes, I'm talking about it again, maybe, is coming out after June 6th. So, it means it's not coming out in the next 2 weeks, which I feel like was pretty common sense because there's been no marketing for it yet, but now we know!
But it could come out June 7th, is what you're saying.
It could.
It could.
There's nothing to say that it won't.
Maybe.
Whereas there is now something to say that it won't come out on June 6th.
You know what? Honestly, it would be pretty cool if it did come out like the second week
pretty funny.
of the Switch 2's
I've seen
life.
people arguing that June 20th. I forget what the reasons were. None of them were confirmed. They were.
They're all reading symbols and looking at the wind.
No, it was basically you have to update. You have to send your assets to Nintendo for like the eShop cover art. I think it's 3 weeks in advance, and they sent it 3 weeks before June 20th or something like that. So people are thinking that it might be then, but like the cover art for the eShop and stuff, you have to do that 3 weeks in advance.
But if it's already listed, 3 weeks from now would not be the 20th. It would be much sooner than that. Because the 6th is 2 weeks. So it'd be...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might not have been 3 weeks. It was... They had other reasons as well.
The math is not...
Basically, none of them made sense, which is why I didn't write them down, but,
Right. Yet you brought them up anyways.
That's... When I see Silksong, I talk Silksong. What can I say?
Okay, that'll be a good one to that's yeah. Speaking of things being brought up for no reason, Microsoft has done something that you and I were not expecting, and I'm gonna be honest with you, until a few moments ago, didn't even know about. They added 50 retro classic games to Game Pass. Now, first on the scene here, Aidan, tell us your impressions of these 50 games.
So, I am somewhat of a retro gamer, okay? I like retro games. I have a Retroid. I play retro games. I know I'm young. I know I wasn't there for them, but I am aware of most of them. On this list, I have not heard of a single game that they are actually putting on here So that means they are the back-whack bottom of the barrel crap that was released and nobody cared about except your cousin Jimmy because it's all he had. It's not all we have anymore.
It makes me
Nobody
question
cares.
the titling of certain things, like retro classic games. So classics, and I don't know if anybody knows this or not. Classics usually means it was good, and or it is still good because it's a classic. Retro means older, right? So if these are old, good games, then there should be games that you know. It's kind of like Nintendo, where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna add a bunch of games to the NSO, like Game Boy Advance and Nintendo 64. We're gonna add games there. Have you heard of them? No. Why would you? They were games on there though, so that's why we still don't have Pokemon. Honestly, this is a completely different rant, and I'm just gonna own it for a moment. Honestly, Nintendo will not put Fire Red or any of the good Pokemon games like that on NSO because they know if they do, they will never sell another Pokemon game the way they sold Scarlet and Violet. They're scared. They know the old games were better, and they know we'll just play those. Because I'll be honest with you, I've played them several times through, and if I'm gonna go pick one up, it's gonna be a GBA. Like, I'm
That's
not.
fair. Yeah.
I'm not fiend. Well, okay, I'll take that back. The 3DS was a good generation of Pokemon games. They did fairly well there. So
I didn't play them actually.
I have them.
That's the bit
now,
that I missed out on.
Years later, I have them now, so I get to play them.
I played everything up to DS.
Yeah, but then again,
I didn't finish Black and White.
My Pokemon opinion is a bit skewed, and people don't agree with me because I believe Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were the best Pokemon games on the Switch. On the Switch. Okay, I'm not saying they're the best Pokemon games. They are the best presentation we've ever gotten of Pokemon. So they're the best, other than those spots where like too many Pokemon spawn in and you're down to like 3 FPS. Other than that, it's the best presentation of it.
You think? You're counting Arceus in this?
Yeah, I don't care for that game.
Really?
Yeah, no. A lot of okay, this is where my opinion differs from a lot of people. I'm not. We're just having a Pokemon rant.
I haven't played it, so.
Well, so this is the thing. Everybody talks about their like what they would want a Pokemon game to be. I am perfectly fine with the Pokemon game I had, just with upgrades, which is what Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is. It is basically just yellow, red, blue, whatever. The original Pokemon games, it's that, just looks newer. That's all. It's got a couple of different weird mechanics in there that if they were options would be a lot better. But it is the best presentation of it. Now, a lot of people like the whole open world thing. You could throw that around for anything, any game. If you put open world, look at Mario Kart World. Okay, open. You just smack open world on there and let it run. Like that gets everybody's attention. So with this, you're not bordered to the little. This is the exact path. You have to walk this way. You can't detour. You have to. That Arceus and what's the Scarlet and Violet? They're open world games. So everybody likes that. They like that version of Pokemon. I don't. I am a strategy-based player where I don't care to be jumping around and moving with the attacks. Like if a Pokemon is attacking, you can move to the left or wait, which way am I facing? One of these ways. Move to the left or right. Which way am I on your screen? You can move to the left or right and it affects the attack that the Pokemon is doing. No, I base all mine down to the percentage of like I have 100% accuracy, but then I just got hit with an attack that lowers my accuracy. So now I know that 100% is lower. So now I know to not try the one that's 50% because that 50% is now lower as well. So I know that's not hitting. So I need to make sure that it's something that perfect accuracy. Like that's how I want to fight my battles. I want to be thinking about numbers while I'm fighting. That's not everybody's case, but it should be if you love Pokemon games because that's what they're about. It's a number game. Right? That game taught me to math. That's why I love Pokemon. But the open world is not it's not what I didn't have a problem with the Pokemon formula. I will play it over and over again. And other people got tired of the formula. So that's why they like the open world.
I think open world is the way to go for Pokemon. I had two main issues with the open world in Scarlet and Violet. One, open worlds in games are usually done by splitting it into invisible zones, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the zone that you're in that's hard loaded, everything is loaded in. And then you have the zones immediately around where you are that are soft loaded or lazy loaded, and that is where they have lower
Everything
LODs
about that
on
game
all the models.
Was lazy loaded.
Well, no, is the thing. Everything was hard loaded all of the time. There were no sections. Everything was loaded in all of the time. The only optimization they did is they had LODs, which is where if you get further away, it shows like a lower resolution thing.
Phases out.
But if you could not see a thing at all, it was still loaded in, which is why it ran terribly, because everything was there all of the time, regardless of whether you could see it or not. If you were on one side of the island, the stuff on the other side of the island was still there.
What about the fact that
it just looked bad,
falling through the world and stuff, like how the solid barrier thing, like how hard is that to like maintain across the entire, like the whole bottom of the game? Because if you're saying everything was hard loaded in, then that means if one spot of the ground is solid, then that means every spot of the ground that's solid would be solid, right?
Okay, so that's not really how that works. Collision is different from how models are loaded in. The textures on them is how you get levels of detail.
Okay.
The models can have less polygons, but for things like the ground, that's always going to have the same collision. Sometimes collision isn't even based on the model. It depends how you do it. The last game I made, the collision had nothing to do with the model. It was literally like boxes on top.
The last game he made. You hear this guy? He made a game. Made a game.
Not a good one. I'm not saying that. It's you know, the last project I worked on didn't do that.
I made a game too. It's called
the collision.
Want to go?
The reason you kept falling through the floor is because they didn't do the collision maths properly. They had things where they would push you away from. Okay. How do I explain this without sounding like a really pretentious dickhead?
I don't think you do.
All models are made up of... Okay, yeah, I don't think I can. All models are made up of triangles, right? As I said, all of these triangles have what's called a normal vector. A normal vector is the direction in which they are facing. This is calculated with, you know, dot and cross products, a lot of vector maths. I'm not going to explain that because nobody cares. What you need to know is that there's an arrow from everything facing away from how it's done. And usually how collision is detected is that if you are being pushed against that arrow by gravity and things like that, it will push back and not let you go through it. The physics, it does both at the same time. It cancels out. What's happening and what you see with going through the floor is it's always on some sort of slope, which means the normals are not flat. They're like...
Oh, so the arrows...
They're pushing the wrong way.
Yeah, okay.
So what's happening is you're being pushed slightly through the floor on the back when you're going up a hill. And instead of that pushing back like it's supposed to, they've not done it properly, and you kind of just clip through and fall. It's lazy code, essentially. They've not done it the way they're supposed to. This is a problem that has been solved for decades. they just haven't done it properly.
Right. Okay.
The second problem I have with Pokemon's open world, yes, I'm still...
By all means.
10 minutes ago. The second problem is that there was no level scaling, so it wasn't actually open world. You still had to do everything in a specific order. Otherwise you couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's...
So what's the point?
That's the point of, like, the one path that it's always been on, is that you
still had to do the one path.
It scales as you go, because you can only go that way.
Yeah, you could maybe swap out, you know, a couple things, or do the because there's three main stories. You can do them interchangeably. But you can't just go to the last gym first.
Yeah.
And you can't go to the third gym first, really. Like, there's everything has set levels, so there's no point to having an open world because you still have to do it in the same order.
Give me enough time in the Viridian Forest, and I will.
Yeah, I'm saying you can, but like in normal play, you wouldn't want to. Because you get your ass handed to you. Sure, you can level up to level 100 before you do any gyms. Of course you can. But that's boring. And then you're going to do the level 1 gym with level 8 Pokemon, and it's going to be really boring.
Or you could pay your buddy to do it for you.
Right, Elon Musk.
You could. Hey.
Alright. We're done with Nintendo now.
Oh. Yeah, we're done with Pokemon. But something else that starts with a P. Persona 5 Phantoms. That's 2 P's right there. Phantom X, which is a mobile game. Mobile. Is anybody play those? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't played a Persona game, but if I was going to play one, it sure as hell wouldn't be mobile. But it is a mobile game, and it's
also never played a Persona game.
Set to release June 26th. So, while everybody's either playing their Switch 2 or standing in line at a store that may get one in stock over the next month or so, maybe while you're standing in line waiting for a Switch 2, you could play this game on your mobile device, your phone. I guess. Just
a reminder. Game Boy emulation is really easy on phones. You can just play the old Pokemons. That's what I do. But no need for mobile games.
Yeah. Okay. I got a 3DS. I play it properly. Okay. I got a GBA. I play it properly. Okay.
I mean, I play them on Retroid, to be fair. But if you don't have a Retroid, because not many people do, you can just play it on your phone.
Look, if you don't own your Pokemon games physically at this point, skill issue.
I have Fire Red over there, and I own the Switch ones.
I've got several. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know which ones or how many of each of them I have anymore, because I know I used to. I said skill issue, but I owned all of them at one point. I owned every single Pokemon game from the first series, like Yellow, Red, Blue, Silver, Gold, Crystal, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire.
Gonna name all the Pokemon games now.
Well, I mean, it's not that many, honestly, when I get done with because that was it. Well, no, Diamond and Pearl, because those were the ones on the DS, the first ones there. So I owned every single one of those games, but we got robbed, and they took all of them. So I don't have any of those anymore. So now I'm not sure. I know that I have owned all of them. I don't own all of them now, but I do own some that I didn't own then. So I still own a fair amount. How do we get back on Pokemon? How do we do this? Why did we do this? So, did I skip? Did I miss something? We stopped.
It was fully my fault, but never mind. Claire Obscure. Everyone's been talking about it.
I had a better segue.
We have a couple of things to say about Claire Obscure. Well, you didn't take it, did you? So it sucks to suck. Cry about it.
Go ahead.
Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is getting a live-action adaptation, as well. We already knew Split Fiction was getting one. I didn't know because I've purposely avoided everything to do with the game.
I knew. Known for a while now.
I haven't played it yet. I will be playing it, streaming on twitch.tv.
Oh god, this guy's plugging himself. You want to plug? It's Screamo on Twitch right here. See this link right here? Right.
I'm not doing it again.
Right here.
We're not doing this again.
Yeah.
No.
I'm
not. No. You find it takes like 10 to 15 minutes every time you do that for me to track the text to your hands. I'm not doing it.
Fun. You could have said something. I'd be more simple. I'd just be like, whoopah, and then you just put it right there. Okay? That's it.
I'm not doing it.
Just the logo. Just a stale, stagnant little logo. Just right here. Your name. That's it. No?
There is nothing to put in the episode this week. I'm thinking up the two videos, and I'm exploiting it.
You see this? You see this? We got a couple of views and just gone downhill. We get more likes and hearts than we have been getting. We're like every other company. We get a little bit of attention.
I hated the shorts.
And quality
I
just
hated
goes
the crap
to
out of the shorts. I hated the crap out of the shorts, man. They got sound effects. I had to find specific sound effects. I started doing that. There's not just popping noises. Now when I'm talking about Hollow Knight, there's Hollow Knight popping noises. When I'm talking about Ubisoft, there's Assassin's Creed popping noises. You don't know the half of it. You don't know how long it took to scroll. Have you ever searched Reddit specifically for a data mine of Hollow Knight WAV files? Because I have. Now I'm talking about Claire Obscure getting a movie. Screw you.
A live action adaptation, to be more precise.
I think it's a movie.
Well, you said live action adaptation, which I'm assuming is a live action movie. I was just saying that's a live action. Which this is my thing. So if they do a live action, I don't know if anybody's played this game or not. I haven't, but I've seen it. So one of the guys, I don't know if he's the main guy or not. I just know he's always on the screen anytime I watch somebody else play it.
He looks like,
he looks like Robert Pattinson, which is Batman, but he's voiced by Daredevil. So the only thing that would be fair if they made it into a movie is to have Ben Affleck play the character because he's been both Batman and Daredevil. That's the only way to make it fair.
That's genius.
You can't choose one or the other. He was both. And put a Martha in there. Why not? Let's make something happen. But we'll see
we know
how
nothing
that goes.
about the movie yet. We just know it's getting one. The important things to talk
but
about
I guess
is
the
that
name.
both of these games are what we're apparently calling AA games now. They're not quite indies because they have publishers, but they're not AAA either.
Yeah, which is interesting.
And they're also go on,
sorry to cut you off, but just really quickly, AA, AAA. Okay, AAA is bigger, right? Not for batteries. For batteries, AAA is smaller.
He makes a good point.
So can we get a universal sizing here for the A's? Like,
where are the 9-volt games?
Yeah, hey, look, they could have been triple B games or double B games or whatever. I never would have made this comparison because we don't have battery, even though they're called batteries, which starts with a B, so it should be B's instead of A's, but it's A's instead. Anyways,
why are they called AAA's and stuff?
I don't know.
They're like amps.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
But the sizes, anyways, AAA is smaller. So why is it bigger? Why?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they are smaller games, though. They are AA games, not AAA games. They are currently what we're I don't see any other way that they're not going to be two of the main contenders for Game of the Year. Because I don't know of anything else coming out this year that could contend. Do you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And especially not for like a AAA game, because there would have been advertisements. You would have seen something. Somebody would have, between now and the end of the year, if it's coming out, you've already heard of it. It's already been confirmed.
Well, hey, Mugenics is coming out. If you haven't seen that game, look it up. Thank me later.
I don't know.
You remember last week when I showed you that weird game of the cats fucking and then fighting each other?
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's coming out this year. Game of the year.
Oh. Meow.
It's made by the Super Meat Boy guy and everything. Like it's a proper game.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Yep. Yep.
Can't wait.
And after I looked at it
in the Fantasy League.
Ow. Wait, what?
I bidded on it on the Fantasy League. I can say that because this isn't going up until tomorrow, which is when the bids get announced.
Oh
no, they're announced today, aren't they?
I don't know.
Later today? Nobody cares. Why am I talking about this?
Yeah, they're not here anyway.
Sonic. Sonic pairs with Red Bull for a new promotional campaign called Racing Around the World to promote Red Bull rallies and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Yep. I'm excited for Cross Worlds. Don't really care about Red Bull. How do you feel about it?
I'm excited that Red Bull decided to pair with someone who only has one flying character that we know of, and they use their tail, but Red Bull gives you wings. So, very concerned about that.
I'm going to stop you right there, Chief.
For why?
One flying character?
I mean, how many flying characters have you seen in the Sonic trilogy? That's all there is. There's nothing else. Are you telling me there's more Sonic information out there I don't know other than the trilogy? Featuring Jim Carrey?
You're talking the movies?
Yeah.
The Sonic movies. This is...
How many flying characters are in the Sonic movies? One, right? And he uses his tail, wait, he has more than one tail, right? It's tails. So, tails? Yeah, he has more than one.
Two.
Yeah. So he uses two tails, and Red Bull gives you wings. None of the characters have wings, and one of them flies. Is what I'm saying.
I'm caught up. You're only talking about the movies? You're not aware of...
Aware of what? What?
The Sonic games?
What games? They make games. They're games after the movies? We have Sonic the movie, the game?
I can't wait till they actually make a Sonic the movie, the game.
Because I can't either.
It's gonna happen.
It's we're on the third movie by now. We should have a game. Why don't we?
But they've done it. They did it with Ratchet and Clank. They did it with Lego Ninjago. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well.
There's gonna be a game. I mean, there's already kind of there's the DLC for Sonic X Shadow Generations that's set in the movie universe. Well, is it the universe? I don't want to say it. It's got the movie models in it, and it's voiced by Keanu Reeves. But
I own that game.
When are they gonna make a Sonic the movie, the game? Honestly.
Yeah. When are they gonna make the Sonic the movie, the game based on the game?
Well, that is actually what Ratchet and Clank did, funnily enough.
Oh, yeah. So
because there's Ratchet and Clank, the PS2 game. Then there's the Ratchet and Clank movie, which is loosely based on the original PS2 game. Mm-hmm. And then they made a game based on the movie. So it's like loosely based on the movie, which is based on the... Hang on, they have a tagline.
In the Ratchet and Clankception?
They make jokes about it on the boat.
It's brilliant marketing, honestly. I'd buy it. I'd buy 2 of them. I'll buy yours.
At least I thought they did.
Okay, maybe not. If it doesn't have it on there, I don't want it anymore. That's disappointing. Reddit, where we at? No? No one? Okay. Well, hey, look, honestly, if you've got any opinions of movies and Sonic and games and stuff, I don't know where I was going with this. I was trying to make a connection here, and I've lost it.
While I'm here, can I just say, why do we not get leaflets in games anymore? All I get is this crappy sheet with the controls on it. What the hell?
It has controls? It shows you the control. I haven't seen a control layout in years. What are you on about?
Default controls.
Yeah, no, I don't get those. Look, I'll open up any of these games right now, and I'll show you don't get anything. There's nothing there.
To be fair, you usually don't. This is just...
Yeah.
This is just for this game.
The only way...
Ratchet and Clank, the movie, the game.
The only way you're going to get something is like if you pre-order a game and it comes with DLC or some kind of bonus crap, and there's a code in there for you to do.
They've stopped doing that, really. You know, that was originally designed to stop people selling secondhand games.
But the whole game is still there.
No, there were some games that had like levels that you needed codes for. One of the Assassin's Creed had like one of the sequences just missing.
Well, I will say when I bought
Arkham City had like
Call
the
of
whole
Duty
Catwoman stuff missing.
There's several things I don't have because it came in that, but they're little voucher thingies and they're expired. So even if they weren't used, I couldn't use them.
Yeah, they did that originally to stop secondhand games because you couldn't get the full game secondhand.
Well, that's
the codes we used.
I mean, I guess, but who started that? I know it. I know it wasn't PlayStation. So who started that? PlayStation
I think it was,
isn't even raising prices on games.
Don't quote me on this. I think it was Ubisoft. I think it was Assassin's Creed that did it first.
He said Ubisoft.
Well, that's the most famous one.
And Assassin's Creed is the reason why they put the leaflets in the packet, the flipper flappers. They put them in there.
Just said, don't quote me on.
No, quote him.
I think it was Assassin's Creed first.
Quote him in the comments. Put it down there right now and say that I learned from Aidan that Ubisoft tried to stop us from reselling games. Put it down there. I want to see it.
You do not have the right to put words in my mouth like that. Unlike James Earl Jones, in which case Fortnite has been shoving words in his mouth for years. The new AI Darth Vader feature is new. Yeah, I'm doing it.
The full send it. You've committed. Go ahead.
I'm
proud of you,
Vader
honestly.
Feature. So, AI. It's a tricky subject. Generative AI, in particular, is viewed upon with a certain disdain that I very much understand. It's not great. And it's not great seeing it in the industries that are close to us, even particularly at all. But Fortnite has added an AI Darth Vader, and they are now being sued for it. Essentially, what happens is you can add Darth Vader to your squad by beating him in the way that you were doing already, and then you can speak to him, and it uses an AI, this like character AI stuff, and he will just talk back to you in the squad comms, which sounds cool, but
why would he talk? Okay, because so like, all right, I get what you mean, because like there are several character interactions you can have in Fortnite where like a voice. There's a voiceover section talking about telling a story or whatever. So,
and not even that now. He now just joins your squad and talks to you as if it's a squad member.
That is,
it's insane.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be a little bit honest here. I kind of want to see it.
It is. Look, I don't agree with the use of AI.
I don't agree with it. But it sounds really cool.
It is cool, and if there was a more ethical way to do this, I would be all for it. The thing is, there is no way to do this without the use of AI.
Yeah, for his voice specifically,
you can't pre-record this.
Yeah.
Well, they are being sued by SAG-AFTRA, an actors union, because they didn't tell them first. The thing is, they aren't upset that they've done it. They're upset that they weren't notified about it prior to negotiate about it. But the thing is, the rights that SAG-AFTRA have to get these prior notifications are predated by the agreement that Disney have with James Earl Jones before he died. So they don't really have precedent here. I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest, because both sides have legal arguments.
That's interesting.
We'll see. The agreement that Disney have with the James Earl Jones estate does not obviously specifically mention AI. It is an agreement made for using the voice in like movies and TV shows where they can generate specific lines. And it was used in...
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But what they've done with it is they've trained an AI voice on these things that they do have the rights to. It's a grey area because they have the rights to use them. They are not necessarily specifically stated to have the rights to use it for a generative AI.
So basically,
it didn't exist when the agreement was made.
To dumb it down, they could use his voice saying what he said, but they cannot use his voice saying things he has not said because
they're allowed to make him say stuff he didn't say.
Well, no, I'm saying like he would have physically had to have said these words, but you could take them from where they were and put them You could rearrange the words he said, and that was allowed, right?
They have the agreement is more than that. There were already technologies existed where you could replicate somebody's voice using recordings. This is how like text to speech works. This has been around for ages. They had the rights to make a text to speech using his Darth Vader voice. So they could make him say whatever they wanted.
Anything, okay.
It wasn't splicing things out. They could make him say whatever they wanted.
But they couldn't make a character out of him doing that.
They could use it for Darth Vader.
Like they're doing.
Kind of. It was used for the Kenobi show, for instance. You know when Darth Vader speaks in the Kenobi show?
Yeah.
That is using a text-to-speech thing from James Earl Jones. That isn't a new voice actor recording the lines.
Okay.
The issue is that these aren't pre-approved things that he's saying. It's an AI that's generating it on the go.
Oh, so at no time is there a script written for this. It could say literally anything.
There are
so if the programming just says, "Oh,
given,
he shot me in the balls," then you now hear Darth Vader saying, "Oh, he shot me in the balls."
Yeah. He wouldn't say that. There are some parameters to it but people have already broken it. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, how hard is it to hack in and everything?
Not even hack. You just by talking to the AI, you can get it to ignore prior instructions.
Yeah,
it's already
done
some crazy things.
Online at all can be infiltrated in some way to be used negatively, or at least not for what it's intended to be used for. So
yeah.
The
issue is that now it's James Earl Jones's voice being used to say
whatever
things that things that he shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, he could say, I'm not gonna say, he could make political statements, and
that is one of the parameters he was specifically told not to do, and I haven't seen anything of it breaking that.
Okay.
But I've seen him, swearing. I think some guy got him to make a tier list of races. That was yeah. One person they were talking about the Spanish language, and because it didn't really understand what was happening, it said that Spanish is a language used by only smugglers, which in the context of Fortnite and Star Wars kind of doesn't really make sense, but you see where it's drawn that line. But just saying, like, Darth Vader saying that Spanish is a language for don't... No, this is the problem, though, because this is something that it's done. He said this, right, in James Earl Jones's voice, despite him being dead, because of this AI.
Right.
And yeah, you're shying away from that because it's ridiculous. And it's not something anybody would ever want to be associated with.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem.
I don't want that exact line that you were saying and then this face being in the same place at the same time, because I know the exact assumption
that's the problem, because now that line and Darth Vader's image and James Earl Jones's voices is the same thing now.
Right. And
that's the problem.
That's awful. And there should have been, because if anything at all, there should be some kind of notification so that way they can place their own restraints. Because just because Epic has restraints saying what he can or cannot talk about doesn't mean that some of the things that are allowed would even be agreed upon from his position, which of course he's passed. So it's not his position exactly, but the people that are in charge of everything, like their position on things. Hey, maybe he can't say that the sky is cloudy. I don't know. It could be anything random that he just would not want his voice to be saying. And there's no one was notified about it, so there was no one to say, hey, look, he really wouldn't like this. And that's his voice. That should be definitely, there should have been conversations, there should have been something. You can't just do why was this done? Why are we headed this way?
It's a scary direction to be going in, because there are two sides to the argument that it's stealing work from actors. Because on one hand, you cannot implement this feature with pre-recorded lines. Cannot be done. But on the other hand, because of this feature, they are potentially not using a voice actor to make pre-recorded lines to do something else.
Right. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. But it's happening, it's there, and this union was not notified about it, which I find odd. They're not upset that it happened. They don't care that it happened. They're upset that they weren't allowed to talk about it first.
Yeah, they just wanted to know.
That's why they're suing.
It's like not asking permission for something. It's like, I'm not mad that you did it, but you know, I should have known that you were going to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, way to go, Epic. Not looking so epic now, are you? I don't know. They'll be fine. They'll do better than
hopefully the amount of backlash they've seen, because they dropped an update within like 24 hours adding way more restrictions, because obviously people broke it immediately.
Yeah.
There's a clip from a famous, have you ever heard of Loser Fruit?
Right now I have.
She's like a famous Fortnite streamer, and there's a clip of her talking to Darth Vader and, you know, just talking colloquially. People say swears, and because he didn't have all the restrictions that he does now, he turned around, said fuck, and called her a thug. And that's just a thing that happened as Darth Vader, a Disney property.
Well, if we want to get, no, I'm not gonna start that conversation, but
which I imagine Disney aren't thrilled about.
Yeah, I could see why they would possibly be upset. Because if Darth Vader says fuck, then you're not going to sell as many toys. Because parents don't want the action figures using the naughty language around their children. They don't want that. So, I will say, I will in one form or way, this is really like dawned on me. It actually earlier before this, I've gotten Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. I've gotten both of those now. And I've got them both downloaded. I want to play them. I'm excited about playing them. They've come out with some new Star Wars Funko Pops, and I've started looking at them. I am not a big Star Wars guy. Like I've not ever been. I've seen them, but it wasn't one of those things that like I made a point to be about. Over the last 2 weeks, for some reason, I have just been so enamored by Star Wars. And it's kind of Fortnite's fault. So I don't know.
On a more positive note, Fallen Order is an incredible game. I love that game. I haven't played Survivor because I don't have a PS5, but as far as I can tell, it is just better.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna have a great time with them.
I would say it because the fact that it's one game broken into two parts is pretty awesome. Is what everybody says about it. I have no spoilers for it, and I am excited to give it a try. So
I don't know if it's confirmed that they're making more, but I feel like it's pretty.
Well, no, I mean these two
obvious.
Are one game that are broken into two, is what everybody was saying.
Kind of. I mean, like the first one has an ending, but like
but they said
it's a direct continuation. Yeah.
So I am excited to give it a try because
and you have no spoilers for it.
No, none. I know nothing about it.
Okay? Enjoy.
What was that about?
Do you know who the final boss is of the first game?
Darth Vader?
Do you know? I'm not saying anything. I'm saying, do you know who it is?
Is it Darth Vader?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying, do you know?
Then how am I supposed to know if I'm saying it's Darth Vader?
So
and
say
you're not
no then.
agreeing,
if you don't know,
then
say
you
no.
You don't know. No, I don't.
Okay, then enjoy it.
Freaking Kylo Ren, isn't
it? The game's set before he's born, so.
Is it Grievous? If it is, tell me now.
Grievous is dead by the time this
I don't know the timelines of these things. See, I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but I've become enamored. And I want to buy Funko Pops. I'm buying video games.
It happens between episode 3 and 4, which is a wide margin, to be fair, but...
Oh, and
it's during the reign of the Empire.
I also got both the Battlefront games.
Have you seen the thing on TikTok about Battlefront 3?
I have not played those. No.
Everyone... Right, so I forget what game it was. There was a game where people just kept talking about it until the company decided to make it, and then it happened.
So now they're trying to get...
One guy has said that we should do this for Battlefront 3. And now every TikTok comment section I've been in, there is at least one comment talking about how they want Battlefront 3, regardless of what the video was about.
Title this episode Battlefront 3. I'm full for this. I haven't played either one of the games yet, but I've heard that this community loves them, and if they want a third one, I want a third one.
Battlefront 2 is getting even more players. Like we were talking about this, was it last week? How it's getting players again. It's still rising.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, look, I don't know what company needs to hear this, but we want the third game. Make it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's EA. But yeah, it would be EA. So EA. Battlefront 3, man. What's up?
Good games, man.
Battlefront 3 and chill. Let's get something going. Battlefront 3 and kill. That's one right there. You can say that, right?
You have anything else to add?
No, I think that's about it for this week. I mean, we covered everything. We covered all the consoles. We covered Pokemon. We covered Star Wars. Is there anything where we covered Sonic? Is there Dragon Ball Z? You know, it exists.
Name drop.
Halo one day is coming to PlayStation. Can't wait for that.
Getting all the hashtags.
Okay, I do have one. Sorry. I do have one thing. Everybody was excited because they're Xbox games that are coming to PlayStation. And I'm kind of one of those people because, as I've stated before, I do like the PlayStation controller over the Xbox controller, and that is why I've been buying a lot more PlayStation games than Xbox games, even though I own both of the consoles. I don't like that none of them are really getting physical editions.
Yeah.
What's that about? What's that about? Don't just rip it and ship it with the emulation. Give me a disc. That's upsetting to me.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because I wanted to try, because I've played the Forza games, and we don't do much racing games and whatnot, but I enjoy racing games. I like sports games too. Like I'm a variety gamer. Okay, I will play literally anything, but Forza Horizon 5 or whatever 6, 7, 32, whatever number we're on, it doesn't have a disc, so I could buy it on PlayStation, not Stars, because that's being shut down. Remember that? We talked about that earlier. But it's on the. You could buy it digitally, but I want to buy it physically. Like the Xbox people got to buy theirs physically. How come as a PlayStation player I can't buy mine physically? So PlayStation, you're keeping your game prices low, and I appreciate you. But can I physically get a game? Can I do that? That's it. That's all I've got. So we started with PlayStation. We end with PlayStation.
Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. We do appreciate it. It's been an interesting week. Yeah. A lot of stuff that I cared about that I get the feeling nobody else did. But I write the docket, so screw you.
Yeah.
We will see you across the pond next time. Bye-bye. Yep.
He was Aidan.
And that was Stan. If you don't know that by now,
what
are you doing?
we forget to don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, bye.
Comment, yeah. Turn on the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, stop.